we are entering the fourth phase of the lockdown, a lot of people ask me whether the lockdown was effective because there is rapid rise in cases in last few days. The pertinent question is whether this lockdown was effective in India, whether it was necessary. So if we look at the data, what we can see on March 23rd we had around 500 cases and today we have around 1 lakh cases. So totally when we see we have 200 times cases over last when the lockdown was done. So is it effective? What did we achieve of lockdown? It was whether it was a totally futile exercise. When we look at the cases in different countries, the first week is taken as when the country reported 50 cases. Let us compare 3 countries which had major outbreak: Italy, USA and India. Italy has and USA has much less population compared to India. But when the 10th week came, that was USA had 10 lakh cases, Italy had around approximately 2 lakh cases, but India had only 75,000 to 80,000 cases. That indicates that we have significantly less number of cases when compared to these 2 countries which are less populous. This is partly because, not mainly because, the timing of lockdown. India locked down the country very early in the pandemic when we had 500 cases, while Italy did it when they had 20,000 cases and USA did it when they had 50,000 cases. Depending on what time they locked down, the cases in each country varies. Because USA did 50,000, they had 10 lakh cases. Because Italy did 20,000, they had around 2 lakh cases. India did 500, so we have around 1 lakh. And definitely the population matters. So definitely number of cases are less, but the major criticism is that we are not testing. But let us look at the death data. If we look at the death data, we can see around 9th week. 9th week is the first week is taken as when 5 deaths were reported in the country. When we look from there, 9th week, Italy had 23,000 deaths, while USA had 55,000 deaths, while India had only 3,000 deaths. So because deaths we have much less in our country, it indicates that we are definitely successful in containing the pandemic to an extent. Let us look at the test data. If we know in the last couple of days, ICMR told that we have performed around 22 lakhs of tests. So we are much higher than many of the countries except United States and probably Italy and Germany. Only 3 or 4 countries have done more tests than us, but we have significantly caught up in the number of tests. But why our per million numbers are low is because of the huge 1.3 billion population we have. Similarly, in daily test, if you look at the daily test also, we are performing around 1 lakh tests per day. When on March 23rd, when the lockdown was enforced, we used to do hardly 3,000 to 4,000 tests per day. From that, we have multiplied 30 times and test capacity has been ramped up in a big way, and today India is only in the 3rd number apart from United States and Russia, which are doing more tests than us. When the lockdowns happened, frontline workers like doctors and nurses never had a PPE. Our production of PPE was 0. From that, currently we are producing 2.8 to 3 lakh PPEs per day. N95 masks, the production was ramped up from 0 to 2.5 lakhs per day or 3 lakhs per day either. And now they are available freely. People can buy it. Not only the N95 masks, even surgical masks are widely available. This was done over the last 1.5 months. So during the lockdown, we could contain the epidemic to an extent, and we could ramp up all the production of this. Let's look at the district-wide data. This is also very important. This is the data on May 5th. Showed us that most of we have around 780 districts in our country. Half of the district, around 368 districts, did not have a single case at the end of second phase of lockdown. And 30 districts accounted for around 80% of the cases. What does this mean? We could contain the epidemic to certain pockets in the country. If we had not lockdown, it would have spread widely across different parts of the country, and all the districts would have got affected. But let us look at the real facts as on date. If you look at some other facts, India has the lowest doubling time. What is doubling time? Doubling time is the indicator that how fast a country is progressing. While United Kingdom and US has a doubling time of around 40 days, means cases increase from 1 lakh to 2 lakh in around 40 days. In India, our doubling time is hardly 12 to 13 days, indicating that India is one of the countries which is progressing very fast at this juncture in the world. If you look at the daily confirmed cases, when we began the lockdown, Per day, India used to report around 80 to 100 cases. When the first phase of lockdown got over, we used to report on April 14th, number of cases reported was 972. On third phase of lockdown ended around May 3rd. Second phase of lockdown ended and third phase started. That day, India reported 2,310 cases. But because relaxations were given during each lockdown phase, you can see from 1,000 it became 2,000, and at the end of third phase of lockdown and when we started the fourth phase of lockdown on May 17th, India reported close to 5,000 cases. So there is rapid increase in the number of cases being reported over last 2 weeks or so. Not only that, as we can see, because the relaxations are more now, this curve is going steep high. In another 2 weeks, we will be reporting 9,000, 10,000 cases per day. And currently we are in the third position, in the fourth position in the terms of daily new cases being reported. I think we are going to increase the number unless we contain this epidemic in a big way and have stringent containment measures, which is a Herculean task by itself. So could we bend the curve? What is a bending a curve? Bending a curve means, let us look at the April 14 data. We had 972 cases. Bending the curve means next day the case will be 800, then 700, then 500 and 400, and ultimately it will become less than 100. That is what is called bending of the curve. Could we do that? No, because our cases were going up. Are we successful in flattening the curve? From April 14, what is the flattening of the curve means? The cases will remain around 900 or 800 or 700 during the same period. Because the relaxations were given post the first phase of lockdown, there was flattening of curve was also not achieved, and we had an increase in number of cases. But if you look at the real flattening, before we started lockdown, we had to report 100 cases, and from that, if there was an exponential growth, we would have started reporting 4,000, 5,000 cases by April 14th itself. That's what has happened in US and Italy. But in India, because of the lockdown, this rate has been slowed and the peak has been delayed by a couple of months. You can very clearly see from the data. So is it successful? To an extent, yes. We could flatten, we could buy some time, but is it a solution? The answer is no. Let us look at some of the data more. On the May 14th data shows, this is one of the very important data. The district-wise data of May 14th shows that the number of districts which did not report cases came down from 369 to 295, meaning 100 more districts started reporting cases. And so this all comes to a simple thing, that in the curve we are still in the ascending phase. If you look at all other countries, US has almost peaked or is in the downward trend now. Singapore is in the second wave. UK has climbed down the curve. Germany has crushed the curve. So we are still in the ascending phase. And it indicates that the worst is yet to come. And we need to be prepared. We are prepared to an extent, but we need to face the reality. So the key question is, was the lockdown effective? The answer is yes. Because we could slow down the epidemic to an extent, less deaths, less cases, and it has been contained in certain areas till the lockdown was over. And we could avoid the pandemic to an extent. Is lockdown a permanent solution? The answer is no, because there will be economic and social catastrophe. At the end of third phase of lockdown, we are progressing fastest ever. So what is the solution? And why did this happen? Why is the spread rampant over last 2-3 weeks? We will discuss in next video. Thank you.